Welcome to The Explainer. I'm so glad you're here with us. Today, we're going to zoom way out from the chaotic day-to-day news cycle to objectively look at a nationwide crisis that's literally affecting millions of futures right now. You've seen the headlines, right? Competitive exam paper leaks have become the ultimate political battleground in India. But today, we're going beyond the noise. We're diving into the data, the history, and the systemic patterns across different political tenures. We're going to see exactly why this whole issue is, essentially, a massive political glasshouse.
Okay, let's dive into this. When we talk about paper leaks, it's so easy to get lost in the political back and forth and totally forget the staggering human scale of the problem. Think about this. During just one major incident, the 2011 AIEE exam leak, reports indicated over 1.2 million students were directly impacted. And when you factor in the ripple effects of delayed careers and severe financial strain on families, it easily swells to that mind-boggling 12 million figure. I really want to ground us in this scale early on because it shows exactly why this transcends politics. We're talking about the futures, the crushing anxieties, and the sheer hard work of millions of families thrown into absolute chaos by systemic vulnerabilities.
To make sense of all this, here is our roadmap. First, we'll look at the national exam crisis. Second, the central government's position. Third, the Congress Party's track record. Fourth, the AAP controversies in Punjab. And finally, the systemic cycle as a whole.
Let's kick things off with Part 1, the national exam crisis, high stakes and political heat.
So here is the current flashpoint of the nationwide uproar, the NEET UG exam. As you probably know, this is the ultimate gateway for aspiring medical students across the country, and it has been engulfed in a massive controversy spanning from 2024 to 2026. This isn't just some minor administrative hiccup, right? We're talking about irregularities and allegations of paper leaks that have ignited widespread protests. We are seeing intense demonstrations, not just out on the streets in state capitals, but literally right inside Parliament. The demands from the opposition are clear, and they are loud. They want strict accountability from the central government for these alleged breaches. It has pushed the integrity of national exams right to the absolute forefront of Indian politics.
Which brings us to Part 2, central government under fire, looking specifically at the BJP and NDA.
Now, what's really interesting here is how we're seeing two completely contrasting narratives playing out in real time. On one side, the opposition, led by figures like Rahul Gandhi and other Congress MPs, has aggressively targeted the central leadership. They are specifically demanding accountability from Union Home Minister Amit Shah and Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, calling for resignations and taking a super firm stance on the administration's alleged failures. But on the flip side, the BJP administration forcefully defends its record. They point out that Parliament has actually passed strict anti-paper leak legislation under their watch. Plus, they highlight their vast operational history, stating they've successfully and transparently conducted hundreds of exams without a single issue. So you have this direct clash. Intense scrutiny over recent high-profile failures on one hand versus a defense built on legislative action and broader operational success on the other.
Let's pivot to Part 3, the Congress track record. As the opposition points fingers at the current administration, the ruling party is pointing right back. When you objectively look at the timeline of exam integrity, it becomes crystal clear that significant scandals have happened under multiple administrations. Take a look back at 2011. During the Congress-led UPA government, the AIEE question paper was leaked and literally sold. It was a massive logistical nightmare that forced the abrupt cancellation of the exam across 1,600 centers nationwide. Then, fast forward to the state level between 2018 and 2023. Under the Ashok Gehlot-led Congress administration in Rajasthan, the state suffered a deeply troubling string of multiple paper leaks. Naturally, the BJP frequently cites these historical instances to argue that the Congress Party's current outrage kind of ignores their own significant governance challenges with exam security.
Just to put a precise figure on that recent state-level issue for a second, 19. Yep, there were 19 reported paper leaks in Rajasthan between 2018 and 2023. And this wasn't just limited to a single department either. It affected everything from the highly competitive REIT exam for teachers to senior teacher recruitment, all the way down to police constable exams. Seeing a number this high in just one state over a 5-year period, it really emphasizes the deeply systemic nature of this problem. It shows just how entrenched these illicit networks are. They continually find ways to bypass state security measures, completely regardless of who happens to be sitting in the chief minister's office.
Moving on to Part 4, AAP controversies in Punjab.
It's not just the big two parties, though. Newer regional governments are also getting caught in this storm.
The Aam Aadmi Party government in Punjab, led by Arvind Kejriwal and Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann, has been facing some really intense heat from a united opposition. The BJP, Congress, and the Shiromani Akali Dal have all mounted fierce protests against the AAP administration over at least 6 major alleged paper leaks and cheating scandals. This includes the 2023 PSTET and the PSEB Class 12 English exam. You know, for a party that heavily campaigned on reforming governance and rooting out systemic corruption, these 6 alleged scandals have provided absolutely massive ammunition for their political rivals.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how sophisticated this whole problem has become. We aren't just talking about someone photocopying a paper in a dark back room anymore. No way. In July 2026, during the pharmacy officer recruitment exam in Punjab, authorities uncovered what can only be described as a high-tech cheating racket. We're talking literal spy-like methods here. Candidates were utilizing hidden pin cameras to scan the questions and tiny wireless earpieces to receive the answers from outside experts in real time. It's fascinating, sure, but also pretty terrifying when you think about the integrity of the medical and pharmacy fields. This crazy evolution in tactics shows why securing these exams is an incredibly complex, constantly moving target for any administration.
Now, in response to these scandals, the AAP administration offers a very specific defense. They state that these incidents were not advanced paper leaks where the system's core security failed days before the exam. Instead, they argue these were localized, high-tech cheating attempts that were proactively and immediately caught by their police forces. So from their perspective, the arrest of these rackets is actually evidence of their administration's vigilance and effective policing, rather than a failure of the exam paper security itself. It's definitely a nuanced defense, right? They're trying to shift the narrative from institutional failure over to successful law enforcement.
And that brings us to our final section, Part 5, a systemic political cycle.
Let's move to how this all builds together. When we pull all these threads into one place, the reality becomes pretty undeniable. The BJP defends its national record with strict laws, Congress defends its historical record while attacking the center, and the AAP points to proactive policing in Punjab. What does this tell us? This is not an isolated incident tied to one specific political ideology, not at all. It is a massive, cross-party, systemic issue. The parties basically just rotate through the roles of the accused and the accuser depending on who currently holds power. But that underlying vulnerability in the examination system, it persists across the board.
Which leaves us with this final, absolutely critical thought. We've seen the data, we've reviewed the history, and we've heard everyone's defenses. But when the dust finally settles on all this political blame game, millions of students are still just sitting there waiting for a fair chance. So, with accusations flying across all political lines, we really have to ask, is this continuing crisis due to a lack of genuine political will to fix it, or is the massive, high-stakes examination system itself just fundamentally broken beyond repair? I'll leave you with that to think about. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. See you next time.